In this episode of the Butt Chronicles, we take a look at Beavis and Butt-Head, episode 41.
Welcome to Industrial Industries World Radio's The Butt Chronicles.
You said welcome.
Oh God.
Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome to the Butt Chronicles, your audio guide to everything Beavis and Butt-Head. And I'm your host, DJ Glowing Ice. Hi, how are you? Today we're taking a look at Beavis and Butt-Head episode 41, Scratch and Win. It first aired on MTV on September 21st, 1993, and this episode introduces a minor character by the name of Gina. And this episode also has a deleted scene which has recently come to light within the past few years, which we will cover later on in the fun facts portion of this episode. But for now, let's see what happens with Beavis and Butt-Head in Scratch and Win. The episode starts in Beavis and Butt-Head's house as both of the boys are sitting on the couch watching TV. On the TV is a commercial for the lottery as a man with a mustache and sunglasses on, dressed up in a white suit wearing multiple necklaces, says, "Sure, I can afford all these beautiful clothes and this fine jewelry, but I'm still the same penny washboard before I won the $37 million I guarantee. I even kept my job on the sludge trolley." Cut to the boys. Beavis laughs and says, "Sludge is cool." Back to the TV, continuing the commercial, and we hear a gun cock, as we then see a small built man in an olive shirt with a bandolier of bullets draped over his shoulder. As we see the barrel end of a rifle slung behind his shoulder, he says in a very timid voice, "I got me a couple of AKs, some sawed-offs, 25 9mm, and a couple of ground-to-airs. I got a fort up in the hills, virtually impenetrable, and enough supplies to outlast a 30-year standoff." The commercial ends as it displays the words with an announcer reading, "Lottery, just a buck and a hope." "Cool," says Butt-Head. "Money is cool," adds Beavis. The next scene is in the Highland High School cafeteria. A banner is hanging from the ceiling that reads, "Homecoming." 4 teenage girls sit at a table as we see Beavis and Butt-Head sitting at a table in the back. We also see Stuart walking in the background holding his tray. The table the 4 teenage girls are sitting at has one girl, Gina, telling a story to the other girls. Gina is a very small minor character that pops up in future episodes of Beavis and Butt-Head. Beavis and Butt-Head see Gina as a hot chick and always try to flirt with her. Gina wants nothing to do with the boys and will do anything to get away from them. She has big 1980s rock chick style hair, big earrings, wearing a skin-tight greenish-blue outfit with a wide black belt wrapped around her hips. As Gina's sitting at her table with her friends, she says, "So anyway, Brad shows up and he's soaking wet and covered with welts, and he knew Heather was gonna be there." The other 3 girls at the table sit back in their chairs and say, "Oh my God." Cut to Beavis and Butt-Head sitting at their table as they laugh at the steaming brown pile of food on their lunch trays. "Cool, mystery meat," says Beavis. "I think it's cheese," laughs Butt-Head. Beavis then grabs a knife and starts cutting down the middle of his pile of food and says, "Hey Butt-Head, I just cut the cheese." The boys laugh together and Beavis says again, "Cut the cheese." Butt-Head then starts staring at Gina. "Hey Beavis, check it out, it's Gina." Beavis stops cutting and looks towards Gina's table. The boys both laugh and they say, "Let's go talk to her." Back to Gina at her table as she says, "Needless to say, Todd was going ballistic, and by then he was up to his elbows in refried beans." A collective "ew" comes from the other girls, as the shot then pans out, showing Beavis and Butt-Head standing next to Gina as she sits. The boys laugh and Gina says, "What do you want?" What do we want? "Don't you guys have some brain cells to kill?" asks Gina. Gina then holds up $1 and says, "Look, If I give you $1, will you get the hell away from me? $1? Butt-Head excitedly asks. Gina hands Butt-Head the dollar bill, and a thought bubble appears above his head. Visions of him in a hot tub with 2 chicks in bikinis, a car, and a flying V guitar swirl inside the bubble. Beavis gets a thought bubble as well, with simply the dollar bill waving in the wind like a flag. Next shot, we see Beavis and Butt-Head walking in their neighborhood on the sidewalk. Butt-Head's holding the dollar bill in his hand as heavy metal music plays in the background. The boys then approach a gas station called the Gas and Sip. The sign has a price of gas for 99 cents a gallon. The boys approach the gas station attendant, a young dude with long blonde hair wearing a red hat on backwards, standing next to the gas pumps. Hey Beavis, gas. That's perfect. We even get change.
Hey, gas. Yeah, that's cool.
This is gonna be cool.
1 gallon of gas, please,
says Beavis, as Butt-Head holds up the dollar. The gas station attendant asks, Where's your car? Car? Asks Butt-Head. Motorcycle? Lawnmower? The attendant asks again. Can't we just get it in a cup?
Yeah, or a bag or something. That would be cool.
No way, dude. Can't give you no gas without a container. Look, if you got $1 burning a hole in your pocket, why not buy a lottery ticket? The attendant then points to a sign advertisement of the lottery. The sign reads, We sell lottery Insta-Scratch and win. Just $1 and a hope. Cool, says Butt-Head, as thought bubbles of the 2 guys he's seen in the commercial appear above his head. Pan towards Beavis as we look in his thought bubble, which is the same as before, a dollar bill waving in the wind like a flag. Butt-Head gives the attendant the dollar and is handed a scratch-off lottery ticket. The ticket is green, showing an image of a leprechaun with a pot of gold with the word win. The instructions read, Uncover 3 shamrocks, win $500. Looking at the 3 unscratched boxes, Butt-Head says, This sucks. We lost. Let's get out of here. Wait a second, guys. You didn't even scratch it, says the attendant. The attendant grabs the ticket and starts scratching the boxes with a penny. Scratching away at every box, it reveals 3 shamrocks altogether. Man, you guys won $500, says the attendant. Stunned, Butt-Head grabs the ticket and says, Whoa, we're rich.
Yeah, like Mr. Howell on Gilligan's Island.
The boys then air guitar. Next scene we see are the boys now driving a Red Riding lawnmower down the sidewalk as heavy metal music plays. As they drive on the sidewalk in their neighborhood, they head towards the gas station again. Pulling up to the gas pump and the gas station attendant, the service bell rings. As the boys sit on the lawnmower seat side by side, the price tag of the mower is now visible, reading the price of $499. Check this out, Butt-Head laughingly says to Beavis. Butt-Head hands the attendant a dollar bill and says, 1 gallon of gas, please.
Yeah, check it out. We got a container.
Next shot, we see the boys on the mower in the front lawn of the entrance doors to Highland High School. The boys have made a design in the lawn of the letter A, as they are now in the process of mowing a circle around it to make it into the anarchy symbol. As they drive the mower making the circle in the lawn, the boys then mouth a guitar riff.
Da 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 da.
And that's the end of Beavis and Butt-Head in Scratch and Win. Now let's check out the music videos. First music video is Viva Las Vegas by ZZ Top. The boys think it's cool, and seeing the ghost of Elvis playing the slot machine, Butt-Head says that he thought he was dead. And Beavis says,
Thank you very much.
The boys wonder what city this video is in, and bringing up town names like Seattle and Beverly Hills. Beavis asks if the showgirls in Las Vegas do it, and Butt-Head says, What do you think, bumwipe? They're almost naked. Instead of singing Viva Las Vegas, Beavis sings Beavis Las Vegas. Butt-Head tells Beavis to shut up, and then he changes it. Next video is Pump Up the Volume by MARRS, and Butthead asks if this is PBS. Seeing the planet Saturn, Butthead also asks if it's Uranus, and says Uranus is cool. Beavis laughs and says, thanks. Seeing a guy spin around in a chair really fast in the video, Butthead says, that guy in the chair seems pretty cool.
Yeah, he seems like a pretty good guy.
The boys then make fun of the high-pitched vocals in the song towards the end. Next video we got is Now I'm Feeling Zombified by Alien Sex Fiend. And seeing skulls bounce off a drum, Beavis says that skulls are cool. The boys say that the singer looks cool because he looks dead. And Butthead says that the video looks cool, but the sound sucks.
Check this out, Butthead,
Beavis says, as we then see the volume bar on their TV go lower and lower until the song is completely silent. Butthead then starts making up a guitar riff using his mouth, and Beavis makes up lyrics and sings,
I'm a zombie, I'm a dead guy, I like to eat people's brains and lick my eyeballs, and I'm a dead guy in the corner, and I'm like a zombie.
That was pretty good, Beavis. You should, be a lead singer.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some clown makeup.
I bet if, we did that over this video, it would be like a buzz clip.
Yeah, we're cool.
And the last music video is Neighbor by Ugly Kid Joe. The boys are eating cheesy poofs on the couch, and as Beavis grabs way too many out of the bag, Butthead pulls the bag away from Beavis, and Beavis looks surprised and shocked. Butthead says, this is that ugly kid chode.
How come he calls himself ugly, and it's like, he's not even that ugly?
Do you find him attractive, Beavis?
No way, Butthead, shut up.
Seeing a fat slob of a man lay on a hammock, picking his toes and smelling a sock, Butthead says, this guy seems pretty cool.
He's pretty cool for an old guy,
adds Beavis. And that's your music videos. Now let's get into the fun facts. This is the first appearance of Gina, which is a very small minor character that is a fellow student of Beavis and Butt-Head at Highland High School. And Gina is a really hot chick in Beavis and Butt-Head's eyes, and she sees Beavis and Butt-Head with only disgust and hatred and just want to get away from them as fast as possible. In an interview, Mike Judge said that the original script for this episode was for the boys to just huff gas, which is why Beavis asked if it could be put in a bag. And also, this is when we get into the alternate ending or the deleted scene from this episode, as it was animated and it was finished, but it got cut right before the episode aired, and it's unknown why this scene was cut, if it was just for timing or just something else, but regardless, let's go over this deleted scene. So the scene would come right after Beavis and Butt-Head cut the anarchy symbol in the yard of the high school. And this is when the boys would take the mower and run it into Gina's car, and basically totaling out the mower. Gina and her friends would then leave the high school and approach the wreck as they scream in horror. Butt-Head would then turn to Gina and ask, "Hey, Gina, can we have another $1?" Now, how we know that this line of Butt-Head asking Gina this exists is that it was printed on the back of a Fleer Ultra trading card from the Beavis and Butt-Head line. This alternate ending was brought up and shed light on due to Beavis and Butt-Head collector Sean Beard, who bought an animation cell setup that had this lost scene in it. And as Gina's friends only appear in this episode, and the shot of them from screaming only appeared from the TV commercial for the Beavis and Butt-Head Experience album, it's safe to say that this shot that was used in that commercial came from this lost scene. So there you go, with this episode, that is the true ending. Beavis and Butt-Head run the mower into Gina's car and they come out screaming, and Butt-Head asks for another $1 from Gina. Let's just say that old classic story, if you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to ask for a glass of milk. If you give Butt-Head $1, he's going to ask for another $1 and wreck your car in the process. This episode was officially released on the Hit It Big home video. And Scratch and Win is the 10th episode of Season 3 of Beavis and Butt-Head, and it's the 41st episode overall. And IMDb, the Internet Movie Database, gives Beavis and Butt-Head Scratch and Win a 7.3 out of 10 rating. And now, I'll give you my review. I definitely remember seeing this as a kid. It was recorded on one of the many tapes my dad recorded Beavis and Butt-Head episodes on, so very familiar with this. And the one thing that has stuck with me over the years comes from this episode. When it does come to me buying scratch-off tickets or lottery tickets in general, is the whole saying that comes from this episode is, lottery, just a buck and a hope. So anytime I buy a scratch-off ticket, that always comes into my head, because I think as a kid, this was my first experience in knowing what scratch-off lottery tickets were or anything. Beavis and Butt-Head was a very big learning experience. I learned a lot watching this, more than practically going to school up until about 5th grade, 6th grade. So, yeah, I learned a lot more from Beavis and Butt-Head than sitting in class. It definitely explains a lot about me, but it's, I love this episode. It was a good one. It's not as funny, but it's just a genuinely solid episode. The whole fact that they won $500, all right, and they spent it all just to get gas, a form and a way to get gas. They bought a riding lawnmower for $499 when they won $500, just so they could pull up to the gas station and spend that $1. They finally got it. They finally got a container to put the gas in, so they were able to carry out what they wanted to do, which was basically trash their high school, which is awesome. And then run, if we're going by the deleted scene as well in this, and then run it right into Gina's car, who ultimately she paid for it herself, giving Butt-Head the $1 in order to win. So it's a solid episode all around. You just kind of see the circle of life happen here, and what happens when you give Beavis and Butt-Head $1 and think you're smart paying them off to get away from you. That's what happens when you mess with Beavis and Butt-Head. You should know better not to mess with my boys, Gina. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But with all that being said, the music videos, I remember the Zombified music video by Alien Sex Fiend, and I always wondered as a kid, I'm like, that was an actual song? Really? And I always wondered who that was, and finally watching this back, I'm like, okay, Alien Sex Fiend. Never heard of that band before or since. The only experience I had with the band was watching Beavis and Butt-Head, which is like a lot of these music videos and these bands. You never hear from them again, but it's really cool that some of these bands got big, but just the right kind of audience sees it, and they become huge. Kind of like White Zombie. If you look that up, Rob Zombie does give a lot of credit to Beavis and Butt-Head for putting him in the limelight and becoming, making White Zombie such a huge thing. It was all because of Beavis and Butt-Head. Little fun fact there. So taking all of that into account, the music videos were kind of meh on this episode. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. I really do like this episode, but it's not one of the greats. But it's not just a mediocre one. So there we go. Beavis and Butt-Head, Scratch and Win, a 7.5 out of 10.